Welcome to the No Limits Podcast, where limits do not exist, where you can create cash flow, equity, and real freedom with the power of real estate.
3, 4. Now, we will begin.
Welcome to the dojo. So today we are going to do a real life deal review. That's the topic of today's show. This is Todd Toback, and welcome to the No Limits Real Estate Investing Podcast. If this is the first time you're listening to the show and you have not been to our website, go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com and download the wholesaling map. Whether you are trying to do your first deal or you're trying to scale to 7 or 8 figures, this is the map, the massive action plan that's going to give you the exact blueprint to get there. Just like you, I started out trying to do my first deal, and soon after doing my first deal, I scaled the business, started to hire a team, and build this out so that this business could give me money and freedom. And so my goal for you listening to this show is to do the same. So make sure you head on over to the website, nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com, and download the massive action plan. So let's talk about a real deal that our company is doing right now. And so the reason why I'm sharing this with you is that I really want you to increase the amount of profit that you're pulling out of your business, right? The small deals that turn into big deals, the good deals that turn into great deals are going to be the levers that you're going to move that are going to radically and drastically increase your net worth. And so one of the things I'm going to start off with this show is you never want to take a okay deal or a marginal deal and try to take it to good from this method that I'm going to teach you, right? You want to take a good deal and you want to make it great, right? I always suggest that if you've got just a marginal deal and it's just okay, number one, try to negotiate a better price on it or kind of walk, right? Do not do the little tiny, $2,000, $5,000, $7,000 deals. That's not my style, right? I want you to make big 5-figure and 6-figure paychecks. These are the needle movers, right? And so if you've got a good deal, let's turn it into great. If you've got a marginal deal, right, you need to keep your risk low and turn it into good. And so in this show, I'm going to share with you a good deal that we are going to turn into a great deal by taking it down. So this is a house that we just locked up. It was in South Florida, and it was one of those A-frame houses, right? A-frame meaning that the roof, it looks like an A, and the roof goes down pretty much halfway down the sides of the property, right? Metal roof, and it's a little funky for the area, but I can tell you it is in a phenomenal location. Great location, worst house in the neighborhood. And this thing is nasty when you go on the inside, right? Our acquisition specialists went in and there are rats and snakes, and it is a little bit of a hoarder house, meaning that there is stuff everywhere and it smells and it's occupied. And so this has the recipe for a phenomenal deal. So like you should, our acquisition specialist locked this up for a phenomenal deal. We're paying $62,000 for it. Now, here's the challenge, is that if we were to wholesale this property, only a certain kind of seller is going to buy this deal, right? One who has a high risk tolerance. They can see past all the garbage, the smell, the rodents, the snakes, the occupant who's kind of quirky, right? And so because of that, our end buyer is going to be the one rewarded for kind of dealing with this. Now, in my mind, I look at this and I look at our team and I'm saying these things, they're not really a big deal. You don't have to be an expert contractor or know a ton about fix and flip to really improve our upside. So here are how the numbers work. If we were to wholesale this property and get a feeding frenzy of cash buyers or stick it on the MLS, my best guess is that we'd probably be able to wholesale it for about an $18,000 profit, right? 18K, clear it, net. And hey, that sounds like a good deal, right? But I'm not satisfied, right? I'm not satisfied for you. So this is where you got to slow things down and say, you know what? I'm going to play chess instead of checkers, right? You've got to make these decisions where it's I want to say a more mature business move, unless you decide for whatever reason to do it differently because you put some thought into it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this property down. Take it down means that we are going to fund it and buy it and actually close on it. And that's not hard to do because this property is only $62,000. But here's why I like this, right? Is that we are going to buy this property for $62,000 and we are going to hire somebody to clean it out completely. And that's going to take probably 24 to 48 hours maximum, right? We're going to, and that should get most of the rats and snakes out, right? But we're going to call an exterminator if we have to. We're going to open the windows and make it smell great. The tenant is going to be out of the property at that time. And so, within 3 weeks after closing, maybe even a week after closing, the tenant is out, the place is clean, there's nothing in the house. Man, we could stick this on the market and sell it for $120,000, $130,000 because of where the market is, right? Remember, because of all those things, people would buy it, but not the right kind of buyers, because now someone else is going to look at this and they don't need to be an experienced rehabber or contractor. They look at this as like, wow, this is a well-priced house in a really, really, really great neighborhood. And so an owner occupant now may buy it, or maybe a new couple who just got married and say, hey, we want to move into this and now, update it ourselves. But now because I've taken on this risk and I've taken out the risk, now I'm going to drastically open up and expand my buyer pool. So here are how the numbers are going to work, right? If I were to wholesale this, I would make $18,000. And if I put it on the market and sell it for $120,000 and, I take out the $1,500 for just demoing the place, and what demo, I mean just cleaning out everything, I'm going to take this into a $40,000 plus deal, $40,000 plus deal. Now I can tell you, I don't know about in your business, but that extra $22,000 is pretty much going to be all profit, right? Except for what we pay our acquisition specialist. Because the 18,000, it's good, but that 22,000, I don't have to do any additional marketing for that. I don't really have to rehab the property and hold this thing for months and months and months and months on end, right? This is just like a buy, quick turn, clean it out in a week, stick it right back on the market, and I'm good to go. Now, sure, there are some things. I've got to get insurance. I've got to get utilities in the property. I'm going to have to deal with our real estate agent, but you know what? In our business, this is going to be worth it. Now, these are the needle movers in your business that if you move them, you are going to take your net profit from 70 to 80K a year if you're struggling. Now to move this to $400,000 or $500,000 a year, refuel your business. And now you can start to see how you could have a 7-figure net business very, very, very quickly if you make the right decisions. Now, how did I decide to take this property down versus wholesaling it? Well, I have a mentor, a virtual mentor, and that is Sam Zell, right? Sam Zell is a billionaire and investor, and he always says, what's the downside, right? He's always looking for a disproportionate amount of upside versus the downside. So what's my downside of taking this down? And what's the upside of everything going well? And he says, look, if everything goes well and we do it, what are we likely to get? And if it doesn't, and if we're wrong, what's our downside? And so that's how I look at deals. If I was going to have to buy a $400,000 property and make an extra 20K, that is more of a disproportionate type of deal, right? The wrong way, meaning there's too much risk for too little upside. If I buy a $60,000 house that I know I could sell no matter what and make 18K as is, right? And I can add another $20,000 on that. Well, listen, that's not a lot of money in comparison to a $400,000 house. I can make an extra $22,000. It's not going to take a lot of my time and energy, right? We have a realtor who will do all of this for us. Then I'm going to do that deal. Now, the numbers can be big, but the profit has to be big, right? So you want to put a wedge on your risk tolerance. You don't want to do stupid deals, right? You don't want to take a big risk that is only going to net you a little bit more money. If you're going to take the risk, it's got to be a big, 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 big payoff at the end. Of course, in my opinion, this is not a big risk and it has a big payoff. So you always want to be looking for a disproportionate amount of upside versus your downside. So I hope you enjoyed today's deal review. If you have not been to our website, nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com, download the map. Please share the show. I see your reviews on iTunes. Please continue to leave them. And I cannot wait to talk to you on the next episode of the No Limits Real Estate Investing Podcast.